Welcome to rugbyleague.com's coverage of Origin 1 from Accor Stadium, or as this next guest is duty-bound to call it, Olympic Park, because he works at the ABC. Mick Radojkovic, how are you, mate? Greetings.
Oh, I'm really good. Hey, Steve. How are you? Yeah, I'm standing out right outside here, Stadium Australia, the old school name, you know. But, the buzz. I just got off the train, walking into the precinct, and it's looking good.
Now, tell us a little bit about the build-up. We've been reading that, it's not sold out. So is it a big deal in Sydney, or have the Matildas, the soccer team, have they taken all the limelight?
Well, that was the thing, right? The Matildas played on a Monday night, got 76,000 people on Monday night, but they reckon they've already sold 80,000 tickets tonight, and they're only selling off the leftovers up in the nosebleeds. So I reckon we'll get 80+ thousand tonight. The weather is holding off at the moment. There's no rain, but they are predicting some a little bit later. And there's people everywhere. It's blue. I think 1 in 30 people might have a maroon jersey on. There's not too many at all. And the train was pumped. Everyone was, getting into it, talking about the game. It's feeling really good. I've been wondering about the sort of build-up to this game. It always sort of creeps up in you game one, and people don't like to get their hopes up. But I feel like in the last couple of days, the hype's really started to sort of get a lot bigger.
And what have the sort of been the themes of the build-up? I know New South Wales have had injuries, so there's been a bit of talk about Teddy, and also sort of some sort of surprise selections on both sides, surprise omissions. Is that what's been the kind of narrative in the build-up?
Yeah, look, you're right. It's all about the debutants. New South Wales have 5 of them tonight. We were supposed to have 6, of course. Dylan Edwards had to pull out because of that quad injury. But it just makes the whole completion of this game really interesting. We've talked about New South Wales being on the cusp of a new generation, getting into and winning a whole bunch of games in a row. And we just haven't seen it happen. Of course, Queensland always just seemed to pull it out of the bag. So, again, we're in this point now where it's a pretty young and inexperienced New South Wales team. They're all great players. They're all pretty good, much in form. But all everyone's talking about is the fact that we've got 5 debutants. Queensland have only got 1, who's coming off the bench, Jermaine Hopgood. And, of course, Dylan Edwards' quad injury and bringing Teddy back into the team has sort of been a really interesting narrative, because everyone was sort of quite happy that Edwards got a run. And then he hurts himself, and Teddy's coming back, and everyone's going, oh, well, now Teddy's got a point to prove, right? Teddy's going to have a man-of-the-match performance. He's going to have a great game. So, is there a silver lining there? I don't know. I think Edwards really deserved that shot. But, I think Teddy will, as he always does, have a really good crack at Origin, and maybe he'll be the difference.
And finally, Mick, Origin, there's a lot of competing events for the money and attention of rugby league fans. We only had Magic round a couple of weeks ago. Is Origin as big as it's ever been, or is there a bit of a dip, or how big do you think it is at the moment?
Look, I think in New South Wales, with so many sort of competing attractions in this place, you've got Vivid on right now as well. You got a lot of people struggling with cost of living, and I looked at the prices of the tickets tonight, and they're not cheap. They really are climbing every year. So it makes it hard to bring your family out to the game and really enjoy it. But look, I think New South Wales, as we always know, if we lose the first game, the interest will drop off real fast. So New South Wales really need to win this game. And even though the second and third games are in Melbourne and Brisbane, I think this is just a must win game for the Blues. And that's really what's brought everyone out here to Olympic Park, I think, because we all know how important this game is at home. New season, new series, everyone's got their hopes up. So, look, I think the interest is always there for Origin. And like I say, it just builds up coming up to the day, whereas today's everyone's got their blue out, everyone's talking about it on radio, and it gets really buzzy. So I think it's always still there, and it's just such a highlight of the calendar, league calendar every year.
Mick, I try not to bother media professionals for freebies any more than once a year, so you're now off the hook till 2025. Enjoy your night, and we really appreciate you having a chat to us.
Oh, no worries at all, Steve. And if you need a post-game wrap, just let me know.
Okay. Oh, you can send. I'll tell you where you can send your invoice. And if everyone's still listening, we'll be having updates in the build-up to the match, and during the match and afterwards. So keep tuned to rugbyleague.com over the next 3 hours. Welcome back to rugbyleague.com's big game build-up, Origin 1. at Accor Stadium. And one of our good friends in New Zealand is Tony Kemp. You might have noticed we've changed our format here at rugbyleague.com. The podcasts are all now on demand, and you can listen to Tony Kemp's brilliant weekly podcast on our website. Just hit the podcast tab. Here is what Tony and his co-host Martin Devlin had to say about the game that's coming up on their show, which was released on Monday.
So you said you think Queensland win this. On paper, they win this, don't they?
Yeah, the Jake Trebojevic selection at captain, Dylan Edwards, Tedesco back in, all this talk about the Penrith three and how they've been together for since they were 13. I haven't heard anything about Queensland. And
keeping quiet, aren't they?
And that's
because the New South Wales press dominate the Australian media, mate.
I know, and I just look at it and go, Queensland just seem like they're just going back, going out there and getting the business done. Like we've got a game to win, and we're going to go out there and win it. Where all the pressure for me sounds like it's on New South Wales. They're being built up. It's about a new captain. It's about Tedesco being back now. It's about the Penrith team and what their 5'8" and their side's going to do with the blue side heading and winning this first game, which they need to win up against the Queensland side. I just think Queensland just take it all in the in their breakfast and their cereal, mate.
Oh, superb!
Up the wires.
How good is that?
The final teams have been posted at Accor Stadium. 5 minutes past the hour kickoff. New South Wales against Queensland. For the Blues, from fullback, James Tedesco, Brian To'o, Stephen Crichton, Joseph Sualihi, Zach Lomax, Jerome Luai, Nico Hines, Captain Jake Trebojevic, at hooker, Reece Robson, Payne Haas, Liam Martin, Angus Crichton, Cameron McInnes. The bench, Isaiah Yeo, Humali Olakawatu, Spencer Leniu, Hudson Young, and the 18th man, Matt Burton. For the Maroons, Reece Walsh, Xavier Coates, Valentine Holmes, Hamiso Tabuai-Fido, Murray Tuolangi, Tom Dearden, Daly Cherry Evans captain, Ruben Cotter, Ben Hunt, Lindsay Collins, Jaden Sewer, Jeremiah Nanai, Patrick Carrigan. The bench, Harry Grant, Moeki Fotuaki, Jermaine Hopgood, Selwyn Cobbo, 18th man, Felice Kafusi, and our referee is Ashley Klein. Just another reminder to check out the Tony Kemp Show. It's on demand on rugbyleague.com. Hit the panel that says podcast. And the great Gordon Tallis needs no introduction, but he got this introduction when he was a guest on this week's show.
Played 20 Origins for Queensland, and to me epitomises everything about State of Origin. Gordon Tallis, it's a warm welcome back to the show, mate. Kempy's sitting next to me. Thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. How are we?
Hey, good, Gordy. Hey, how's it all going, mate? Obviously, a night out. It's been pretty quiet. I was just saying to Marty, the New South Wales seem to be taking all the news, but been pretty quiet from the Queensland camp.
Yeah, look, it has. Obviously, Harry Grant missed, I think, the first couple of training sessions just for the stomach bug. They said that he had a bad oyster, so he mustn't have had one of those beautiful New Zealand bluff oysters. So he's but the New South Wales, obviously, Sunday, the news broke that Tedesco was back in camp and Dylan Edwards come to a quad injury. So, look, it's a shame that it's happened for Dylan, but I don't think New South Wales lose too much with the great James Tedesco coming back into their squad.
Gordon, at this stage, and a day before, even in the build-up, and you've been in this position so many times, of course, I mean, is it about the other team or is it only about your team and what your blokes are doing?
Well, you can't really control what they do. I think it's about what you do. It's everything you've worked on, everything that Billy Slater has put you through for the last 10 days. Obviously, you play against these guys week in and week out. I know that it's New South Wales. It's the best 17 players that they have. But it is about yourself. It is about your team. It is about the 1%ers. I think Origin is about what you do when you don't have the ball in your hands. And that's what should be going through the Queenslanders' heads at the moment.
What do you mean by that, when you don't have the ball in your hands, mate?
Well, mate, basically, when you don't have the ball in your hand, you've got to go support a teammate, whether it's in tackling or defence, and that's what we're judged on. So obviously, when you got the ball in your hand, There's a famous saying, the great players go just in case they're needed, not because they're needed. So you don't stand there and watch your teammate. Like, you got to go there and with it. So when you don't have the ball, what's your job? What are you doing? Are you still involved in the game? And that's when people think that their job's done and they don't support their teammate and he's got no one to offload it, or, they turn the ball back inside and the gap's a little bit bigger and they go straight through. So Queensland's all about what you do when you don't have the ball in your hands.
Hey, Gordy, when you look at the New South Wales side, and Madge has picked a side of toilers. When I look at the side, McInnes at the back, and even leaving up Curacao out, who is arguably the best hooker running around in the comp at the moment.
I agree.
Do you think he's trying to emulate Queensland? Because, like you just said, Queensland just they get the job done. Is that what he's trying to achieve?
Yeah, well, he's picked no-nonsense players that want to play 80 minutes and do all those little things that we know that wins games. I'm surprised about Nayak Coruscant. There's no doubt. I think he is, there's he and Harry Grant are the best two hookers in the game. There's no doubt about that. But and so much creativity. But New South Wales, they're a powerful pack with some forwards, and Cam McInnes, he's just a taller, as you said, mate, he plays for 80 minutes around the ruck, does a lot of clean-up work. So I think, New South Wales are going to play a power game, think that they're just going to, simply bash Queensland out of this. But Queensland's a very proud state, and we are down on trips. There's no Tino, there's no Flegler. Munster's obviously hurt himself a week out, and Tommy Gilbert hurt himself from the Redcliffe Dolphins. So we're down on troops, but, we just need the ball to stay in play. And, as Queensland do, we play for 80 minutes and, see where we're at.
Gordon, just the emotion of it is what I love about this, because sport is emotion, and this to me epitomises it more than anything else. And that talk about it means more to Queensland. Does it mean more to you? Do you just want to thrash these bastards, do you?
Oh, yeah, well, it was our first jersey, right? So the Warriors come in 95, right? But in all those teams in Sydney, they come in 100 years ago. So the Roosters in South and the Dragons, they're all 100 years old. The State of Origin started in 1980. So when I was 7, that was our first real represent. The Broncos didn't come in until 88. So every kid in Queensland, that was our first big jumper that we could wear.
Right.
That was the first one. So no, I can't say that a Queensland jersey means more to me than what Joey Johns and, Laurie Daly and those guys putting on a Blues jersey. But I know that as a Queenslander, it's certainly a jersey that we hold very highly. And I'll tell you a story, right? So Australian cricketers, they will swap a cricket bat or their test stuff for a Queensland jersey. And I've got all black jerseys at home, and they didn't want to swap any other jersey except a Queensland jersey.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a great.
I never heard that before. That's brilliant, mate.
Hey, Gordy,
so, and then I think when you think about it, it's a bit like New Zealand in a way, right? You're a smaller country, you come up against Australia.
Oh, we want to beat you to death, mate. Yeah,
that's right. And then Queensland, we're the little brother, right? So. We're a smaller state. They have the Harbour Bridge. They tell us how bad our state is, and it's basically little brother versus big brother. Oh. And I suppose they don't hate us as much as we hate them, I suppose.
No, and you got blokes like yourself and Chris Close that go around and bash all those blokes in blue jerseys.
Another great podcast you can listen to on demand at rugbyleague.com is the 5th and last show. These guys are absolute footy heads, geniuses when it comes to the technical side of the game. Let's have a listen to what they think is going to happen over the next 2 hours.
So possession's going to play a huge part in this.
But style of play, I just sort of looked at us and thought big, powerful back five, whether it was Dill or James, I don't think it changes in terms of what those two do with the ball. They're not drastically, dangerous ball playing options. They like to swing. I think Dylan probably more so favours that right side, whereas, Teddy's sort of more around the ruck and popping up here and there. But
it depends how they're going to play.
This looks like we really want to play from the back end of the field and defend our way to a victory.
Yeah, I don't know. The back line looks pretty dynamic.
But Tedesco, Crichton,
Suoliti, Lomax, Luai, Hines, there's a lot of expansive footy, and
Yeah, but you got to go forward.
you got Toe, who's your worker.
I think it.
The forward pack looks spady, like which I like for game one,
So
and then you've got a little bit of ball playing in Yo off the bench. Hamole is going to give you a huge impact. Laney will give you a huge impact. And Hutto, he's an underrated impact player. He's scored plenty of tries this year, and he'll give a point of difference when he gets his opportunity on the field.
But do you see, and this is probably the one thing for me, I don't really see like an out-and-out game breaker for us in the context of like stealing a moment. I think Luai will be on his left side. I think Hines will run the right. And
I think it's Nico and it's Teddy. If Nico can bring his club form to Origin, I've got no reason to doubt that he can do that.
Whereas
I'm pretty excited to see what he can deliver. I really like him as a player, and I'm excited for him to get his crack. I hope his calf's all right.
Welcome back to our pre-match coverage of Origin 1 at Accor Stadium, New South Wales versus Queensland. There might be someone out there who doesn't know who plays in State of Origin. Hello to you. But we are only minutes from kickoff, and it's really nice of Brad Walter from NRL.com to join us from Accor. Brad, set the scene for us. What's it like there? I believe there's a lot of traffic outside.
Yeah, it's very busy. There's 80,000 people here or trying to get into the ground. At the moment, the stadium, the field is blacked out. There's an Indigenous dance performance on. Basically, people are, I suppose, getting, the last minute things, a beer, something to eat, getting themselves ready before the game starts. But there's a real sense of anticipation here that this is going to be, this is going to be one of the great Origin games. There's, so many great storylines. Michael Maguire at his first match as New South Wales coach, he picked 6 debutants. He made 11 changes to the team that won in Game 3 of last year's series. And most significantly, he dropped the captain, James Tedesco, and then Dylan Edwards, his replacement, who's won 3 grand finals, won a Clive Churchill medal, and someone who most people in the game believe deserves an opportunity in Origin. He got injured, and Michael Maguire's had to send the SOS to James Tedesco to come back in. And so he plays his 23rd consecutive Origin match for New South Wales tonight. And there's just a feeling that James Tedesco is going to have one of those special Origin performances and really show that he deserved to be there from the start.
Now, we won't keep you too long because kickoff is looming, but there was nothing surprising in the team announcements. Is that right? There was. People said that Billy Slater, the Queensland coach, might make a change or two.
No, both teams are 1 to 17 or 1 to 18, as we say these days, because the 18th man is an important selection. Just because of obviously HIAs, and if you have 1 player injured through foul play or 2 players forced out of the game through HIAs, then you can activate the 18th man. And the benches are really interesting. New South Wales have gone with 4 forwards. So if they lose an outside back to injury, as they did last year twice with Tom Pravojevic going down, and people will remember that Damien Cook played 77 minutes in the centres. But New South Wales have got 4 forwards on the bench. Queensland, in contrast, have Selwyn Cobbo, a winger or a centre, sitting on the bench. So it's going to be interesting to see, basically whether either of those tactics are the correct ones, and how the benches will be used, or in the case of, say, New South Wales, what will they do if they lose an outside back? So it's pretty intriguing. I think too, just tactically, I don't know how much has really been made of this, but Queensland have got a huge advantage in speed in their outside backs. There's no doubt that they're going to try to shift the ball and use the speed of Reece Walsh and Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow and Xavier Coates, etc. New South Wales are clearly going to go through the middle. They've got a forward pack. Michael Maguire likes to play that style of football, but they've got a bigger forward pack. They've got big outside backs as well who will carry the ball back, as in Zach Lomax on the wing and Joseph Suwali in the centres, Stephen Crichton, those sort of guys. So I think New South Wales are going to try and play the game through the middle. Queensland are going to try to play an expansive game use their speed. There'd been a lot of talk about rain and people thinking that was going to favour New South Wales. It hasn't rained here in Sydney at all today, so that rain is yet to come. Apparently it's on its way, but I don't think it'll be here until after the game's over.
And give us your tip, Brad.
Well, look, I've been following the New South Wales team. There's a really good vibe. Michael Maguire's created a really good vibe around people, the players wanting to, give their all for their state. He's sort of like wound the clock back. They've used 1985 and Steve Mortimer as their sort of inspiration and motivation. So I feel that what I've seen there, that New South Wales will win. That there's just a good vibe in the team, but I haven't been around the Queensland team. I've got no doubt there's a good vibe in that team as well. So, but I'm tipping New South Wales. It's at home. They have to win in Sydney. If they lose this game, then they've got to go to Melbourne, win there, and then go to Suncorp Stadium to win the decider. It's almost impossible to do.
Brad, it's nice of you to join us so close to kickoff. And everyone, keep tuned to rugbyleague.com over the next couple of hours for updates on the scores and happenings at Acor Stadium, and then afterwards for the aftermath. Thanks very much, Brad. Enjoy the night. Hope you have a good night working and you don't work too hard.
Yeah, look forward to speaking to you later on, mate. It's going to be a cracking game. See ya.
We have points in Origin 1, early points, and it was a try to Queensland. Ben Hunt latching onto a pass from Daly Cherry Evans, scoring near the post. The try was converted. So with 6 minutes gone at Acor Stadium, the score is Queensland 6, New South Wales 0. And there's been an absolute sensation at Acor Stadium. Joseph Swalihi for New South Wales has been sent off for a shoulder to the head of Queensland's Reece Walsh. So New South Wales now down to 12 men in a match that they must win in their only home game of the series. So just repeating, the scoreline remains Queensland 6, New South Wales 0 a short time ago, but New South Wales down to 12 men after Joseph Swalihi was sent off for a dangerous tackle, and Queensland taking a goal kick, an attempt at a penalty goal. That goal successful from Valentine Holmes, so Queensland extend their advantage over a 12-man New South Wales. 10 minutes gone at Acor Stadium. It's Queensland 8, New South Wales 0. More points, and this time it's to the 12-man New South Wales Blues. James Tedesco chasing a little grubber kick just to the left of the post and dotting down. The try was converted, so against all odds, New South Wales in this game. 25 minutes gone, Queensland 8, New South Wales 6. Hamiso Tabuai Fido backs up a raid on the left, on Queensland's left, the Blues' right side defence, and the Blues are short-handed. If you're just tuning in, they had a player sent off, Joseph Swalihi sent off in the opening minutes, and now with Hamiso Tabuai Fido's try converted by Valentine Holmes, there are 19 minutes left in the first half, and the score is at Acor Stadium. Queensland 14, New South Wales 6. Queensland starting to run right now. On the left, Hamiso Tabuai Fido getting his second try. It was scored in much the same circumstances as his first. The conversion from Valentine Holmes was good, and the scoreline now, with 25 minutes gone at Acor Stadium in Origin 1, is Queensland 20, New South Wales 6. New South Wales refusing to go quietly, trailing 20-6 to Queensland in Origin 1 at Acor Stadium, and New South Wales down to 12 men with Joseph Swalihi sent off, shoulder contact to the head of Reece Walsh, who, I must add, was also forced off with concussion. However, Spencer Leniu just had a try disallowed for the short-handed Blues. He was short, and the score remains just a short time ago, Queensland 20, New South Wales 6, with 11 minutes remaining in the first half. And it's half-time at Origin 1, New South Wales versus Queensland at Acor Stadium. And there's really only one headline moment, one thing to mention first. Joseph Swalihi sent off for shoulder contact to the head of Reece Walsh in the 7th minute of the opening match of that interstate series. And that pretty much has dictated most things that have happened since. The halftime score, Queensland 20, New South Wales 6. For the Maroons, tries to Ben Hunt in the 4th minute. Hamiso Tabuai Fido in the 18th and 23rd. Valentine Holmes kicking 3 goals from 3 attempts and 1 penalty from 1 attempt. For the Blues, they were already down to 12 men when James Tedesco crossed in the 13th minute. That was converted by Nico Hines. So just repeating that halftime score in, I don't think, a controversial game. I don't think the decision by Ashley Klein was very contentious at all, but nevertheless momentous and rare, a send-off in State of Origin. And it's halftime at Accor Stadium. Queensland 20, New South Wales 6. 12-man New South Wales scoring points. 5 minutes into the second half, Zach Lomax flying high to claim a bomb. Nico Hines missing a difficult conversion from out on the western touchline. So with 5.5 minutes gone in the second half of Origin 1 at Accor Stadium, the scoreline is Queensland 20, New South Wales 10. A disallowed try to Jeremiah Nanai for Queensland. The ball knocked out by Reece Robson. So the Maroons remaining in control, but certainly not home and hosed, with the scoreline Queensland 20, New South Wales 10. New South Wales, of course, down to 12 men with the 7th minute send-off of Joseph Suali'i, and that's at Accor Stadium in the first match of the State of Origin series. Another disallowed try, this time for Queensland. Xavier Coates goes up for a high kick on the right, taps it down to Valentine Holmes, but referee Ashley Klein on the field ruling that the ball travelled forward, and that's supported by the replay. So the score remains with 17 minutes remaining. That's a short time ago in Origin 1 at Accor Stadium. Queensland 20, New South Wales 10. Another disallowed try, this time for Queensland. Xavier Coates goes up for a high kick on the right, taps it down to Valentine Holmes, but referee Ashley Klein on the field ruling that the ball travelled forward, and that's supported by the replay. So the score remains with 17 minutes remaining. That's a short time ago in Origin 1 at Accor Stadium. Queensland 20, New South Wales 10. Queensland look to have sealed Origin 1 now. A breakaway try from Ben Hunt. The Blues wilting under the pressure of playing with only 12 men after Joseph Suali'i was sent off in the 7th minute. That was the earliest send-off in State of Origin history. So, again, a breakaway try from Ben Hunt, who salutes the crowd at the southern end of Accor Stadium. That ticked the scoreline over to 24-10 Queensland over New South Wales with 13 minutes remaining. And I think some of that 80,000 crowd, although the place isn't full, they'll be starting to leave now, starting to head back into town. Valentine Holmes was successful with the conversion, slotting it straight between the posts. And that ticks the scoreline over with 13 minutes remaining in Origin 1 at Allianz Stadium. Queensland 26, New South Wales 10. Apologies for that last cross saying the match was at Allianz Stadium. It is in fact at Accor, where Queensland have now taken a stranglehold. New South Wales on the attack, deep in enemy territory. Isaiah Yeo's pass intercepted by Daly Cherry Evans. He runs 65 metres, centre kicks for Xavier Coates, who touches down between the posts. The try is duly converted, and heading into the final 10 minutes of Origin 1 at Accor Stadium, the scoreline is Queensland 32, New South Wales 10. Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow holds up 3 fingers to the crowd at the southern end of Accor Stadium. That's because he's just scored his 3rd try. It's in the last 2 minutes of Origin 1 at Accor Stadium, and Queensland have a massive lead and are going to register a massive win. It all comes down to the sending off of Joseph Suali'i in the 7th minute, shoulder to the head of Reece Walsh, who was also unable to return because of a Category 1 concussion. And Queensland go 1-up in the series, and New South Wales, this is their only home game. The series moves to Melbourne and then to Brisbane. So the Blues right up against it. Valentine Holmes converting that try to bring up the full-time score in Origin 1 at Accor Stadium of Queensland 38, New South Wales 10. Running through the details, 3 tries to Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow in the 18th, 23rd and 78th minutes. Ben Hunt scored in the 4th and 66th minutes, and Xavier Coates in the 70th. 6 conversions from as many attempts to Valentine Holmes. Valentine Holmes also booting a penalty goal. For the Blues, tries to James Tedesco in the 13th minute and Zach Lomax in the 43rd. Nico Hines kicked a conversion in the 15th minute. And at half-time, the scoreline was Queensland 20, New South Wales 6. Our referee was Ashley Kine, and repeating that full-time score at Accor Stadium, Origin 1, full-time, Queensland 38, New South Wales 10. Just repeating that full-time score a little earlier in Origin 1 at Accor Stadium, it was Queensland 38, going one up in the series over New South Wales 10. And the question on everyone's lips was whether New South Wales's Joseph Suaalii should have been sent off in the 7th minute for a high shot on Reece Walsh. And following up on that, how was he feeling after the earliest send-off in Origin history? Here's what New South Wales coach Michael Maguire and captain Jake Travojevic had to say about those two questions.
Well, I think earlier on in the year, I think he ended up with a broken jaw, I think, and there was no send-off. So it's a big call at this level. I mean, it's tackle. He was falling, and but again, I'll have to have another look at it. But I think it's a massive call for a game like this.
So, Paul, you were pretty animated with Ashley Klein. What did you think? What did you say to him?
Oh, yeah, it was a tough one. Yeah, I didn't expect him to get sent off, if being honest. Just probably because of the enormity of the game, but that's the way it went, It was tough, but as Matt said, there was periods of the game we were to take a lot of confidence from. There, probably the first 20 minutes of the second half, I thought we were on top, with 12 men. So got to give a lot of credit to the lads. They worked really hard, and we put ourselves in a position there to be, puncher's chance at the back end, which is nice.
Joey, you would have spoken to him. You would have been dreaming about this match for ages, and it was over very quickly for him. How's he feel?
I'd imagine he's got a fair bit of emotion rolling around inside at the moment. But one thing we're going to do is that we get around him. That's what we do. As you just said, they made the decision, so we now look after our own.
Queensland 38, New South Wales 10 in Origin 1 at Accor Stadium a little bit earlier. And New South Wales coach Michael Maguire, perhaps predictably, thought it was a big call to send off Joseph Suaalii for that high shot on Reece Walsh in the 7th minute, the earliest send-off in Origin history. And as a follow-up to that statement, Maguire was asked at the media conference whether he thought there should be more leniency towards such offences in State of Origin.
You never probably planned for having a bloke off in a circumstance like that, where I thought, it was a line call, honestly. Like, you're playing in a game like this and it's a massive line call, and it's disappointing to see him get sent off, but they called that, and that's the way it is. Well, I don't know whether you call it leniency, but I just spoke about it before, where earlier in the year there was nothing happened when he broke his jaw. So I guess this one was line ball because he was actually falling, and obviously the height of that just last moment had Joey clip him a bit, but big call in a big game like this.
The crowd this morning, 77,214. Man of the match was Daly Cherry-Evans of Queensland. And speaking of the attendance, predictably, New South Wales coach Michael Maguire was asked whether the crowd had been let down by the dismissal and whether perhaps players who are dismissed should be replaced after 10 minutes. Here's what Michael had to say.
Those sorts of things are definitely worth looking at, but you made a call. They made a call, and I actually have already received a lot of messages from a lot of people saying how hard the boys tried in that circumstance. So people see that, but it doesn't help us right at this moment, because it was the preparation that the boys have had and the way they're really working towards what this Origin space stands for is been exceptional from the players. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we know that we're chasing a result.
Maroons 38, Blues 10 in Origin 1, and in the Queensland media conference, Coach Billy Slater was asked about how Reece Walsh felt following that high shot by Joseph Suaalii, which led to his dismissal, of course, in the 7th minute. And then he was asked how he felt about the tackle, and some pretty interesting responses or maybe non-responses here.
Yeah, he seems to be okay now. He didn't look too good on the field, obviously, but he seems to be okay in the sheds. I'll keep my feelings about that to myself.
Did you feel that New South Wales made a point to target Reece illegally with that hit?
I've no idea, but I'll keep my feelings about that to myself.
You can I ask one more. Did you feel it was send-off sufficient? That was the right call to send Joey off?
Did you?
Yes.
Okay.
Did you? People don't care what I think. Did you?
People care what you think. And underestimate yourself.
An evasive answer there to the classic reporter response. No one cares what I think. What do you think? We didn't actually get an answer from Billy, but I think we know, although we don't know the extent of his anger or the extent of his feeling about that tackle. And he certainly didn't really want to say whether he thought Walsh had been targeted. So I imagine we'll hear more about that in the days ahead. Thank you for listening to rugbyleague.com and our coverage of Origin 1. I want to thank Mick Radojkovic and also Brad Walter for joining us before the match, and everyone else involved at rugbyleague.com. Jason Costigan for sending through the news reports. Paul Fairs for all the work he's done to put the station together. We shall repeat some of the post-match coverage in the coming hours. But until next time, my name's Steve Mascord, and enjoy your rugby league.